Hey, what's up, soldiers? Chris here, CaribbeanPod.com. It is Good Friday. I'm taking you guys on a sort of a culinary journey back to my childhood on the islands on Good Friday. Since I'm based in Canada, I've had to make adjustments to the recipe itself. The ground provisions I'll be using today is sweet potato, Edos, and of course, green cooking bananas. That is what I can source. Typically when my mom would make this on a Good Friday, it would be yam, it would be dasheen, and sweet potato, and we would boil plantain as well. But I'm thankful for what I have, so basically I'm using what I can source, right? So with the sweet potato, you would just cut off the top and the bottom, and using a potato peeler or a paring knife, as Uncle Chris is doing here. I'm just going to allow the skins to drop into the sink here. I'll take care of that later. All you do is peel it, give it a good wash, and into the pot. But before we go into the pot, what I like to do is slice them in half. And you want to put it right away in water because it will go discolor. All these sort of blemishes and stuff like that you want to trim out. And then all you would do is cut it down the center so you got two pieces. And that is the sweet potato. And you notice the color of the sweet potato. Typically, the other thing I want to mention is the sweet potato that we would get in the Caribbean, the inside. That color, that white color that you're seeing there, no, it would be sometime purple, sometime a deep yellow, totally different color. The Edos, yeah, I know some of you watching this and thinking, yeah, I'm not gonna say it, but you know what I'm talking about. Hairy, furry, okay, scrotum looking. Anyhow, you're looking for something that's firm. And you would have seen these in the grocery store, and you're probably wondering, if you're new to Caribbean cooking, what are they? And we treat it like we would treat a potato. It grows on almost like a taro plant. It's not a taro plant, but a relative of the taro plant. We call it Edos. There are different names for it. And you have see the sort of furry stuff on there. You want something that's firm, no sort of blemishes and stuff like that. I apologize, the wind is fierce today, and that is the exhaust fan for my stove that's making all that noise. And as you would potato, you would peel it the same way. Now, the sort of caution I would give is this: wear gloves, because there's a sort of a sticky, slimy sap once you peel back the skin, and it can irritate your skin, and it can cause you to itch. So you really want to pay attention to that. And you're just going to peel it, removing the outer skin like you would a potato. So you can use a potato peeler, and that's it. You would hit them a cut down the center as we did with the sweet potato, and notice the color of it. So there you go. If you don't have gloves, what you can do is get some vegetable oil and coat your hands with vegetable oil, and you're gonna get that sort of coating to protect you from that sort of sap or that stain. The green cooking bananas, and you want to look for green cooking banana, not green banana, but green cooking banana, totally different variety. Trim the top, trim the bottom, and one of the ridges that goes down, you want to go in the thickness of the skin, like so. So I'm using the tip of the paring knife, and I made that cut there, and that is it. Give it a really good wash, because when my mom would cook green cooking banana, she would peel it first of all. It's a bit harder. This is the easier way, and she would put it into the same pot she would boil the other provisions. Or if she were cooking it in the skin, she would cook it in a separate pot. Now we're using the same pot today, so I'm gonna go ahead and prep everything and put it into a pot with water. I'll just quickly show you the sort of setup we have going on here. So in this pot here, we've got the ground provision, which is the sweet potato, the Edos, and the green banana, in a full pot of water, coming up to a boil on a high heat. And I'm going to go in with some salt, and that is about a teaspoon and a half of salt. Just knock that down in there. We're going to bring that up to a boil with the lid on, and we're going to remove the lid and let it go on that rolling boil. And here I've got my skillet ready, and I've got all of, prep, and we've talked about this before. Once you prep those ingredients, it is so easy to get going with the cooking. I've got garlic, onion, thyme, parsley, scallion, scotch bonnet pepper, tomato, lemon. We'll also need some tomato ketchup, some olive oil, and some black pepper. My cast iron skillet there, I'm gonna hit it with a couple tablespoons of olive oil. And I know in this dish, I'm trying to keep it as real as possible to my memories as a kid growing up. You know, I grew up in a Catholic home, and on Good Friday, while we didn't go to church all that much, on a Good Friday it was always about fish, and especially this dish here. My dad reading the Bible to us, bush bath. We always got a bush bath on a Good Friday. And I've got the oil. We're going to go in with a medium onion, 3 cloves of garlic, the scotch bonnet pepper, the scallion, and the tomato. And, you know, besides reading the Bible to us and stuff like that and having a great family, you know, I've had one of the best childhoods. I can only imagine what other people have. Well, compared to some of my friends, I had a great childhood. Let's just say that. My Canadian friends, anyway. It was a home full of love and everything like that. And on Good Friday, we all sat together, waited for Mom to prepare this. And what's striking about this dish is I'll be using salmon from a tin, from a can. And it's probably the only time I remember we eating canned or tin salmon. Yeah. Caribbean island, water all around, and we had nice fresh fish, but for some reason, canned salmon, stewed canned salmon on Good Friday was a thing. Besides reading the Bible to us, we would watch all those Bible movies, and we only had 2 TV stations, so we didn't have cable and all that stuff. Like back then, Trinidad didn't have cable, and I'm dating myself there, but it was Ben-Hur and all these different movies we would watch with my dad and stuff like that, and yo, real memories, man. The heat is on low. I just want to soften everything up and let this flavor that oil there. And the odd time Mom didn't make this, it would be stewed kingfish she would make for us on that day. And part of the stewing process on making kingfish was frying it first. And I remember thick slices of fried fish we would also enjoy with pepper sauce and ketchup. So I'm going to go in with some black pepper now. To bring in a bit more herbal notes into things, I've got some fresh thyme. All I want is the leaves in there, those little baby leaves. And just a couple sprigs of thyme would be enough to add a ton of flavor to this. I'm just going to let this sort of sweat down for a couple more minutes. And yeah, I am using canned or tin salmon. If you have fresh salmon, you want to cube it up and put it in here, you can certainly do that. But I'm just sticking close to the recipe I know and I adore, and it takes me back to a childhood, Good Friday, Easter weekend, and we look forward to this thing, yeah? The kitchen is already smelling lovely from that garlic, the onion, the thyme, all those flavors in there. And we're going to go in with 1.5 tablespoons of tomato ketchup. If you don't want to skip the tomato ketchup and you're wanting to use the Big People version, which is tomato paste, you can certainly do that. Again, I'm keeping it this traditional to the way I remember it. So that is why I put that in there. And 1 can of that salmon. I'm just going to use my spoon to just break it up into a few pieces, like so. And then we're going to bring that back up to a boil. Let that salmon make some nice moves there with the rest of the stuff in here. And yo, that is it. Notice how simple that was, but I'm telling you, man, this thing here, full of flavor, and you know, it excites me. I'll be honest with you, this excites me today. And to help create a sort of a sauce or gravy, I went in total with about 1/2 cup of water. I'm going to bring that up to a boil, drop it to a simmer, and let that simmer. It's been about 5 minutes. Everything is nice, and you know, everything's tender, everything has come together. I know the residual heat in this pot here is going to thicken up that sort of sauce, that sort of gravy a little bit more. So the last thing I like doing is that parsley Gotta hit that little greenery, that little herbal note to finish it off. I'm just gonna give that a quick little stir, warm that through, turn off the heat, taste it for salt. You will notice I didn't add any salt because I'm trying to cut back the amount of sodium in my diet, thus not adding any salt in here because I find that most canned stuff usually have a ton of sodium in there. We need a little bit of lemon juice just to finish it off. And that is done, that is ready. If you start seeing foam at the top of the pot when you're boiling the ground provision there, you want to skim that off and toss that down the sink and just continue allowing it to cook. As I turned off the stove on the stewed salmon here, couple things I forgot to mention. If you wanted to put bell peppers in there, if you wanted to put mushrooms in there, all those different things will work in there. Also, if you want to have this for a lot of people and you only have 1 can or 2 cans of that salmon, if you wanted to add cabbage in there, and that is a recipe I'll share with you guys in the coming weeks, but if you wanted to add cabbage in there to stretch this for more people, you can certainly do that as well. At that point, you will need to add salt for sure because that cabbage is going to need its own little salt. It's been about 20 minutes. I'll quickly show you how to test to see if everything is cooked. You would take a paring knife, you would go down the center, and that is the edges, no resistance whatsoever. That is fully cooked. Same thing with the sweet potato, no resistance whatsoever. And you will notice the green banana will finish cooking first, maybe about 7 minutes. You will see the split open up, and that is why we made the cut there. We're gonna take these out, we're gonna drain everything, take these out, allow it to cool down, and I'll show you how to peel them. Don't do as I do, it's not as cool as it can be. All you would do then is using your hands, you'd pull back on the skin like so. And this is very hot, so I'm just trying to be careful. And you get the idea, you just pull back on that skin. And it is that simple. There you go. Sup soldiers? Listen, if you enjoy this recipe, I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and click that bell notification thing. If you've made the recipe, take a picture and send it to me, email address down here. I mean, trying to tell people the email address, them butts will take the address and do all kind of thing with it. And tag me on Instagram at Caribbean Pot. I really appreciate you guys and thanks for being in my kitchen with me today. Irene. And there you go, all peeled and ready to be served up. And you know, this takes me back, as I said, to being a little kid on the islands. Good Friday, mommy would make this for us. There was usually a side salad, very basic, of tomato, watercress and cucumber, and we also always had boiled plantain or plantain with it as well. Chris here at CaribbeanPot.com. Thanks for joining me as I reminisce about being a young boy on the island, a little fella on the island, and yo, those happy times, man, real happy times, you know. I hope you guys have a great Easter weekend. If you celebrate Easter, if you don't celebrate Easter, enjoy the extra day off. Irene? Irene.